on 96.7 and 104.2 FM, on medium wave, digital, online, and on Freeview, channel 719. This is BBC Radio Kent. I've probably just given the newsreader a heart attack by saying that with 10 minutes to go before the news, because that's Rosemary's keywords. But those are the different ways you can access us. But there's also different ways you can access your newspaper now as well. Do you foresee a time when there won't be actual physical newspapers at all anymore? Lee's in Leeds joined in our conversation on Twitter, which brings us on to this point about social media and the news. And Lee, earlier on we had an email from somebody who said, well, the problem is young people don't buy newspapers. You're a young person. Do you ever buy a newspaper?
Never in my life.
Why not? I'm curious.
It's pointless. It's a total waste of money. I used to be, back in the late 90s, I used to be a newspaper boy, and our local paper up here cost 32p. Now it's 70p. 70p per day for stuff you can get free on the internet.
So basically you can access the exact same information on the internet, so there's no point in you buying the physical copy of the paper.
That's right. I wake up in the morning, I will check the BBC News on Twitter, and then I will only read what I want to read. Totally free of charge. It's pointless wasting money on newspapers. But
you clearly are engaged by the news, but it's the method of delivery and how you access it that's different.
Oh, that's right. Like, I will wake up, I will listen to the radio through my iPhone app, which is good because it's not news about everything. You can pick out what you like. Like, again, about Twitter, I don't follow the Daily Mirror on Twitter, but I will follow the Daily Mirror business, money-saving side of it. Because you can pick and choose what you want to read. And that's what goes with newspapers. You're buying it all. You're buying sport, you're buying business, horoscopes, deaths, you're buying it all. It's a total waste of money.
So when you looked at the BBC News app this morning, or their Twitter feed, which stories did grab your attention? What were you interested in today? I'm curious.
The first thing I read was, of course, a new day going under, basically. 9 weeks, ridiculous. And then I also read a story about the polling station down in London having problems. And that's the 2 bits of news I've read today. That's it. No deaths, no murders, no depressedness. Just some nice news. So that's interesting. You are avoiding a lot of the stuff that you think is negative. Why do you avoid that stuff? Does it ruin your day? It's like people. I can understand why people like it. When you're in a car and you're driving on the motorway, if there's a crash, you look. Just slow down, you'll have a look at it. People enjoy depressing stuff, but I make a decision to remove that from my life. There's no need for it.
Do you think that most people your age now are the same? They have a digital source of information. They don't have to buy newspapers. I mean, here you are on the radio, but I'm going to guess you possibly don't listen to a particular radio station every day like a lot of older people might do. You dip in and out of things that you access digitally.
That's right. I follow various different BBC news stations. Leeds, I'll follow BBC Kent, and also BBC Three Counties.
Why do you follow BBC Kent when you live in Leeds?
Because, it's nice, to be honest, it's the presenters. Like, you sound like a really nice woman, so that's why I follow BBC Kent. So I know in the future, if there's a story that you'll tweet about that I'll enjoy, I'll turn it on. But I won't turn on listen every day, because it's not how I live.
That is very interesting. So it's about the people on the radio as much as what they're talking about.
That's right. Like, my favourite station at the moment is BBC Three Counties. Because the presenter on there called Rob, I really enjoy listening to. I don't listen to him every day. He will tweet about what's coming up on the show at 3 o'clock. If he's tweeting interesting stuff, I will listen. If he doesn't, I'll just carry on with my day.
So you are choosing what you engage with and ignoring the stuff. You are your own news editor, essentially, aren't you?
Basically, that's right, yes.
What happens with all the other stuff that might be important, but you've decided to rule it out? So, for instance, when you choose to vote, the EU referendum is coming up. Do you engage with news about that or not?
I don't know much about it whatsoever. Again, it's like this stuff over in the US with a Trump bloke. I've got no idea what's going on over there. I don't want to know. But if we have to vote over here, like the EU, and they're voting today, I'll maybe spend an hour reading various different media outlets, the BBC, The Guardian, ITV, just to try and get a balanced point of view by reading so many different sources as possible.
Yeah. Lee, it's been really interesting. I think in real insight for everyone this morning to hear from somebody in their 20s about how they access the news, which I think would probably be very different to somebody who's 67 as opposed to 27. And it's really nice to have you as a listener.
Thank you very much, Stu.
Cheers. Have a great day.
And you. Bye.
Lee in Leeds. And this is the fascinating thing about being a BBC local radio presenter these days, is that because of the nature of the way we broadcast, and of course you can listen to us on the internet, you can be anywhere. You can be absolutely anywhere. Here we are thinking we're talking only to the people of Kent, but I know for a fact there are people all over the world listening to this today. Join in wherever you are. You can drop me an email. It's julia@bbc.co.uk. Do you know, when Lee said, you sound like a really nice person, the entire production team, didn't you, to a man, burst out laughing. What are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to tell me? It's 9:54. It's BBC Radio Kent. Let's talk about the news and whether it's good or bad for us, where you get your news from. And are you, like Lee, your own curator of news, your own editor? You pick and choose because you access the news digitally and you can pick and choose which stories and which sources you are interested in.